So, what really makes for a good life? It's a question we all think about, right? Well, today, we're going to dive into one of the most incredible attempts ever made to find the answer. So, let me just ask you, straight up, if you were going to invest right now in your future best self, where would you put your time and your energy? Seriously, what do you think matters most?
Well, a recent survey asked millennials that exact question, and the answers were pretty telling. A huge 80% said that a major life goal for them was to get rich. And half of those same young adults said their big goal was to become famous.
And, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? We are just bombarded with messages to lean in, to work harder, to achieve more. We get this impression that these are the things we have to chase after to have a good life. But is that really the whole story? See, the problem with just asking people what made them happy is that, looking back, our memory is, well, it's not perfect. We forget things, we misremember. Sometimes our memory gets downright creative. But what if you could watch entire lives as they unfolded in real time, from their teenage years all the way into old age? Well, believe it or not, that's exactly what the Harvard study of adult development did. This is, and I'm not exaggerating, possibly the longest study of adult life ever done. For over 75 years, they tracked the lives of 724 men, asking them year after year about their work, their home lives, their health, all to see what truly works. And what's so incredible is that a study like this even exists. Most of them fall apart within a decade. But this one kept going through multiple generations of researchers. Today, about 60 of the original 724 men are still alive, still participating in the study, and most of them are in their 90s. And now they're even studying their children. And they didn't just pick one type of person. They started way back in 1938 with two very, very different groups of teenage boys. The first group, sophomores at Harvard College, some of the most privileged young men around. The other group, boys from Boston's absolute poorest neighborhoods. Many from troubled families, living in tenements, often without even basic things like hot and cold running water. And over the decades, these guys grew up and their lives went in every direction imaginable. They became factory workers, lawyers, doctors, bricklayers. Some developed alcoholism. Some climbed the social ladder from the very bottom all the way to the top. And some, well, they made that journey in the opposite direction. One of them even became president of the United States. Okay, so this is the moment, right? After 75 years, after tens of thousands of pages of data looking at these lives from every possible angle, what did they learn? What's the secret? Well, first, let me tell you what it's not. The clearest message to come out of all this research, it isn't about wealth or fame or working harder and harder, all the things we thought were the key. The clearest message, the single biggest takeaway from this 75-year study is this. Good relationships keep us happier and healthier. Period. It's really that simple and that powerful. And digging a little deeper, they learned 3 huge lessons about relationships. First, how crucial social connections are. Second, that it's the quality of those relationships that really counts. And third, that good relationships literally protect our brains. So let's break each of those down. Okay, lesson number 1. Social connections are just incredibly good for us. It turns out that people who are more connected to their family, to their friends, to their community, they're happier, they are physically healthier, and they actually live longer than people who are less connected. And loneliness is toxic. And this is a huge problem. At any given moment, more than 1 in 5 Americans will say that they're lonely. And that experience of being isolated is a real health risk. It can make your health decline earlier, and it literally leads to shorter lives. Now for the second big lesson, and this is a really important clarification. It's not just about having friends or being in a relationship. You can be lonely in a crowd, and you can definitely be lonely in a marriage. It is the quality of your close relationships that truly matters. And check this out. Living in the middle of conflict, like a high-conflict marriage, without much affection, is actually terrible for our health. It might even be worse than getting divorced. But living in the midst of good, warm relationships, that's protective. In fact, and this is amazing, how satisfied the men were in their relationships at age 50 was a better predictor of how healthy they'd be at age 80 than their cholesterol levels were. And the third big lesson is that good relationships don't just protect our bodies, they protect our brains.
People who were in securely attached relationships in their 80s, where they really felt like they could count on the other person when things got tough, their memories actually stayed sharper for longer. So you might be thinking, okay, good relationships are good for me. Got it. This wisdom is literally as old as the hills. So why is it so hard to actually do and so easy to just ignore? Well, it's because we're human. We want a quick fix, right? We want something we can get that'll make life good and just keep it that way. But relationships, they're messy, they're complicated. And taking care of your family and friends, that's hard work. It's not sexy or glamorous, it's lifelong. So what does it actually look like to lean into relationships? Well, it can be something as simple as replacing screen time with people time, or livening up a relationship that's gotten a little stale by doing something new together. Go for a long walk, have a date night, or maybe it's reaching out to that family member you haven't talked to in years.
Over a century ago, Mark Twain was looking back on his life, and he wrote this. There isn't time, so brief is life, for bickerings, apologies, heartburnings, callings to account. There is only time for loving, and but an instant, so to speak, for that. And after 75 years of research, the lesson really couldn't be clearer. The good life, it's not built with wealth, it's not built with fame. The good life is built with good relationships.